Welcome to the Founders Chat. Today's guest is Art Maslow, founder and CEO of Foxtery.com. He's building in the education industry. Welcome, Art. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Yeah, thank you, Alan. Glad to be here. Yeah.
All right, so maybe we can start by telling people what is Foxtery, what you're trying to solve.
Yeah, sure. Foxtery is an AI agent that transforms a company internal knowledge into real usable training. So it analyzes whatever materials a company already has, identifies knowledge gaps, restructures everything into clear learning paths, and then keep those materials up to date automatically. So just think of us as a cursor or lovable but for knowledge workloads. We take the chaos companies already have and turn it into a system that learns, adapts, and grows.
Amazing. And just to be clear, you are helping companies to build training programs for their employees, right?
Yeah, correct. You can upload anything, any raw files that you have on topic. It could be product updates or maybe some compliance changes in any format, actually. And then in the next 30 minutes, the AI agent fully autonomously just in front of you will create a fully interactive multi-format online course with audios, videos, different types of branch logic, quizzes, even open-ended questions. So our course is literally talking to every employee, clarifying main ideas, checking understanding, providing a personalized feedback. Yeah.
Amazing. And how did you come up with the idea?
Well, the idea for Foxtery came from a very old and very painful problem. I have been living for years. It's a content creation. So back when we built our first product, it's a learning management system. The market was full of platforms with a terrible design, and we wanted to fix that. And we created something modern and beautiful. And I went to conferences, talked to founders, sold them the vision, and they loved it and they bought it. But then everything got stuck at the same place. It's content. So for training to actually influence people's mindset and make them more stronger in their role, the content has to live inside the reality of the company. I mean, its mission, values, products, processes, internal know-hows. And that content can only be created by someone who truly understands the reality. So it's small companies is usually founder and large ones is subject matter experts. And the problem is two problems actually. They don't know how to create courses and they're always busy. So because creating courses is a creative project and pulling an expert out of the day to day to make training is almost impossible. And this became a bottleneck for us as LMS providers. And about 30% of our customers couldn't just launch simply because they keep postponing content creation. Some postponed for months, some just gave up completely. And I even have one client who kept paying for the LMS for nearly, just imagine, for nearly 2 years, even through the platform was completely empty. And when I finally called him and asked, why are you still paying? Tell me, I don't understand. He said, I just love the idea of training my people, but I really don't have time right now. And I'm afraid that if I stop paying, I will completely abandon this idea forever. Well, he eventually churned, and that story stuck with me till now. So then we created an internal team of instructional designers, helped a lot of clients to transform their courses into their knowledge into interactive courses, but it was still slow, it's manual, it's discrete. And when generative AI appears, we realized that 95% of our work could be automated, and that when Foxtery was born, actually. First, an LMM that generate courses, and later when agentic AI emerged as a true AI agent that can autonomously do all the work.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's amazing. So basically, you started building the platform to offer the online training, and then you found a way to generate the content with AI, and this is when Foxtery started. And before Foxtery, uh, what were you doing?
Yeah, it just was I'm talking about. So I've been in B2B SaaS HR tech for the last 10 years. And
All right.
before launching Foxtery, I founded another company called Unicraft. It's a learning management system, and yeah, learning management system used by more than 100,000 weekly active learners. The product is still running, still train people today. But at some point, it became obvious that software was entering a new era. So complex interfaces, menus, and the settings were becoming outdated. AI agents were starting to feel more natural than traditional tools. So I decided to build something new from scratch, something that complements my previous company, but belongs to the next generation of software.
Got it.
Uh,
Got it.
and uh,
I
yeah, Mhm.
yeah.
yeah,
Sorry. At some point, I thought it was a pivot, but basically, you started a new company with Foxtree.
Yeah, you can call it a pivot actually, because I stayed in the same field with the same audience because I know their problems deeply and I understand their onboarding pains, their content chaos, their need for speed, and Foxtree is simply a more advanced answer to the same fundamental challenges that I've been solving for a decade. Yeah, but we started from scratch. Yeah, because of several reasons. Because new software architecture, AI agent, and completely new way of experience when you interact with software.
Great. And is there something about your early story that most people don't know?
Yeah. S- So I work in B2B SaaS HR tech for the last 10 years, and we are training people actually. Yeah, and something most people don't know is that I've been in learning for about 10 years, but I'm not a pedagogical or HR background person at all. So I actually came into this space from pure IT, and my degree is in information processing and automation. So I'm an engineer by training, not someone who was originally planning to build learning products. And before starting my first company, I spent a lot of time thinking about what I actually wanted to change in the world. And looking back at my experience in large corporations, I keep remembering the same pattern. So many demotivated people around. So people who didn't see meaning in their work, who didn't feel proud of what they were doing, and who weren't moving together toward a shared goal. And then I realized that this is what I wanted to influence. So when I entered the learning and HR tech space, um, I came as an outsider, learning everything from scratch. And my goal never was to build the courses, actually. My goal is to change how people experience their work, make them more engaged, more confident, more connected to the company's mission, to the real goals. And in parallel, of course, help companies to move faster because today speed is one of the biggest competitive advantages.
And did you always know you wanted to be an entrepreneur, or was it when you found this need that you started thinking about it? Hey, I should do something about it.
Well, good questions, because when I get my first degree, even at the fourth year, I already started my first company, and then to next 2 years later, I started a new one. So spent 5 years after university as a founder, as a CEO. Then moved to a large city, stopped everything, and employed into a large corporation, and then worked in two big enterprises as a manager for the next 8 years, then tired from this and came back to the entrepreneurship way.
I feel it's always hard, especially when you have a technical background, because I have a technical background as well. Um, Life is easy in big corporations usually, and the opportunities are good as well. So I've been moving from entrepreneurship to large corporations a couple of times already.
Yeah. Easy, but a lot of restrictions, slow speed, boring from time to time. Yeah.
Yeah, it can be. Yeah. Cool. So now switching to your personal side, um, how does a regular day in your calendar looks like?
Well, We startup of 7 people, and my day to day right now is a mix of a product, strategy, fundraising, and sales. Pretty much the full founder package. So I talk to customers a lot because real feedback is what shapes the product, and I still adjust prompts myself, tune workflows, work closely with designer and developers, and discuss traffic and acquisition strategies with marketing. So basically, I'm jumping between several layers of the business during the day. And it's not my first startup, so I already understand which tasks I should still be doing with my own hands and at what stage certain responsibilities need to be delegated. So little by little, I expand the team and hand off pieces of work in the right order. Yeah.
Cool. And do you have a routine? Do you have time to do something outside work? Like, do you have any rituals to keep the balance? Like, some people do meditation, some others go for a run. What is your thing?
Um, yeah. I have a family. I have a little daughter, 1.5 year old. So it's another startup. So every weekend we spend time together, and always I'm playing paddle. Do you know paddle?
Yeah, it's pretty
Uh,
popular in Barcelona.
yeah, it's pretty popular in Barcelona and Spain. So yeah, uh, I'm playing paddle twice a week, I believe. Yeah, and yeah, that's all. I have no time for.
Nice, 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 nice. What about co-founders? Did you start this alone or with co-founders?
Yeah, yes. At this time, I started this alone. So my first experience was when I had a 60% and I had 4 more co-founders. It was almost 10 years ago when I founded a learning management system. Yes, and this um, time I started it alone. Yes, and of course it have its own pros and cons.
Yeah. Cool. So you are basically uh, generating courses with AI for your customers. So you're building AI. But what about in your daily workflows? Are you using different AI tools? Which ones are you using?
Well, yes, of course. I'm simply using traditional package of AI chats like a Chat GPT, Anthropic, Gemini for the different reasons. And we are using a lot of different AI powered software to automate marketing, to automate product development, and so on. For example, we are using NA10, Clay, Hayrich, Instantly, Cursor, Lovable for short landing creation, and so on.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it helps you to do a lot of work much more faster than before.
Yeah. And yeah, now I was thinking about your business. What is the business model? Do you have like a lot of companies? Is it something that is automated? Like, are you selling a product and people paying a subscription, or it's more like enterprise and you get a few big clients to implement the courses?
Um, yeah, so let's say both. So in Basis, we have a SaaS subscription with implemented AI credits. It's a very popular model these days. Um, Everything started from marketing channels. So we outreach people, we perform well at the exhibitions, we appears in the GPT search. Then everybody goes from the website, usually, then get to the HubSpot. HubSpot making enrichment, scoring, and then depends on the client and the profile. Big enterprises go to the dedicated sales team, and small SMEs goes to the self-serve model.
All right. So, is there a trend that you think everybody is underestimating?
Well, yeah. For me, the most underestimated trend is still AI. Still AI.
Wow.
So yeah, sometimes I go outside, I look at the people sitting in cafes, drinking wine, living their normal life, and think, you guys have no idea really what is coming. Because people still trade. I know a lot of people who still trade AI. It's like another new technology, but it's not. Yeah, it's a completely game changer. So AI is moving so fast that even people inside the industry struggle to keep up. And the gap between those who understand AI and those who don't is growing. Who don't is growing very quickly. Yeah, and at some point it will be no gap. It will be a real divide, on my opinion. And I'm not even sure whether to be happy for people because they will see many amazing things like robots and so on, or sad because most of them are not ready for this level of change.
I was having a conversation early before um, about probably people few years from now don't need to work or there isn't enough work for people. But the reason is because society became much more productive because AI and robots powered by AI, right? Uh, what will people do if they have everything to live and they don't have the needs to work? Like, wha how is this society going to look like?
Well, the creative work as first, so it's still for people because if you don't, if you talk about things people underestimate, um, mm, the second thing is just is AI is it's just a machine actually, a very complex algorithm, yes, but it's still an algorithm, and so many things. If you understand even a little bit about how this model works, many things just suddenly make sense. So you stop expecting miracles and you stop being upset when the answer is wrong. Uh, s- so the truth is, many people don't understand AI at all, and they move slowly because of it. But uh, yeah, so I believe create people will do creative work. AI will do all the routine. There will be much more free time, much more freedom at all. Some people will play games. A lot of talking about this um, helmets and virtual reality
Yeah.
things. But it just will be more fun and freedom.
Yeah, I think one of the industries of the future is going to be hobbies. It's already happening. People have more time today for hobbies than 20 years ago, right? So there are a lot of industries growing so fast. For example, I'm running now, but I was running 20 years ago, and today all the industry behind running is massive. Yeah,
Yeah,
Eh,
yeah, yeah.
you have
And you can
so
see
many
each
different.
other, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
in
yeah,
the app.
exactly. And I think research. I don't think AI will be able to do research. It's going to be able to help a lot. I think a lot of engineering people working in the engineering fields are going probably to switch a little bit to research. I don't know. That's my opinion.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. AI is just an algorithm who is predicting the next world.
Yeah. Cool. So, if you have to define success, like what is success for you personally?
Yeah, for me, success is very simple. So success is when my pack is happy. So, and as a founder, I work with many groups of people. So it's my family, my team, clients, peers, investors. And the real success for me is when all of them feel good. So when my family is safe and stable, when clients get what they what we promised, and even more, when partners and investors see what we deliver, that we deliver results, and teams feel motivated, inspired, well paid, and their families also feel comfortable. So if all these things come together in one picture, that's success for me. Yeah. So it's not just about money; it's about creating a world when the people around you feel proud, safe, and happy.
I love the answer. It's the first time I get this answer. And I agree. At the end, money is a vehicle for other things in general. Great answer. Cool. So, if you can give an advice to your 22 years old self, what is advice?
Uh, yeah, I will tell him a few things based on my experience and based on this 15 years, almost 20 years. Yeah. So first, don't wait. Start now. So try things, make mistakes, learn fast. There is a phrase I love. Sometimes we win and sometimes we learn. So every mistake is learning and just make them earlier. Second is choose people carefully. Understand who you really need. Find that person. Make sure your energy matches. Always check references. It's important. So the right people make you faster, and the wrong people slow you down and can slow you down for years. So third is something bothers you, anything. Don't ignore it. Just fix it. And there is another great saying: "What you are not changing, you're choosing." So if you accept the situation you don't like, you're actually choosing it. So don't choose it, change it.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
then, and finally, I believe be optimistic, but plan like a pessimist. So you don't get into some cash flow problems like I did. Although to be fair, all these problems also taught me a lot, honestly. So it was good experience.
Yeah. The most painful problems and mistakes are the ones we learn the most. I
Exactly.
feel the same way. um, okay, nice. Okay, so now if you can send a message to your customers and future customers, what message are you sending?
So we're building Foxtery together with our customers, for our customers, and your feedback um, and your real problems shape the products every month, and we will keep moving faster to give you even more value than we can.
Cool. So basically, please keep feedback. And is there for companies that, I mean, which size of company, what is your ICP? Which companies should be reaching out to you to start offering training to their employees?
Uh, well, so learning processes are very segmented in companies. So there are sales onboarding, customer care onboarding, some learning in HR, some learning in compliance. This is if you talk about positions. So everyone who in charge of learning and knowledge sharing. If we talk about segments and companies, actually, for now, we as a startup should focus on some segment, and we are focusing on B2B software companies from 200 to 1,000 employees. Why? Because their product directly drives revenue. So they have a complex product, have a weekly or bi-weekly updates, and they need to deliver these updates fast to the sales team, to the customer care team, usually all over the globe. So we help them to do it the same day this change appears. But globally, our market is much bigger. So it's every industry actually who have a complex service, complex product, or wide range of products, and where knowledge loss hurts performance. It's a telecom, mm, pharmaceuticals, manufacturing, consulting, insurance, and other industries.
Okay. So basically, we can say that if somebody has a company with complex product or a big catalog, they can reach out to Foxtery to start building their internal training.
Yeah, absolutely. With complex product and frequent updates at first. Or if you have some turnover, or if you're spreading fast and hire a lot of people.
Amazing. And what about investors? Are you fundraising? Have you fundraised, or you want to stay out of it and just bootstrap?
Yeah, I raised just the first pre-seed round in September. Yeah, and now we're growing, showing attraction, month to month grow, and going to raise again the seed round in the beginning of March.
Any message to investors?
Well, AI is moving extremely fast today, and the knowledge workflows will be one of the biggest winners of this wave. So, if you believe in speed, automation, and a AI agent-driven software, that's exactly what we're building.
Okay, so before you mentioned that you had co-founders in the past. Well, so can you share what is the hardest conversation you had with him or her?
Yeah, I had one with the co-founder and team members. So the hardest conversation in my life were in my first startup when I was still a completely inexperienced founder. And back then, I thought everything would go much faster. 3 months to build the product, a few months to sell it, a few months, let's say, by 6 or 7 months, we would be profitable. That was my great idea. And of course, reality was different. I paid high salaries, invested my own savings, even mortgaged my apartment, and took a loan to keep things going. But sales were slow, the product was still raw, and the money eventually ran out. And at one point, I had debts, a team expecting salaries, customers waiting for features, and absolutely no clarity on where the money would came from. And yeah, next month, for example, yeah. And I had to sit down with every team member. it, there were 5 people, and tell them that there would be no salary that month, and probably not the next month either. Either, yes, and they all had families also, and their own loans, their own responsibilities.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh, yeah, so this were the hardest conversations that I ever had, yeah, in my life.
How
And
how
what,
did it go?
yeah, and
How did it
so
go?
yeah, it went well. One person left immediately, but honestly, he simply couldn't afford to stay. Yeah, another worked for almost 2 months without salary, and then also left. But the rest of the team stayed with me for years, and I'm still grateful to them for that time. So with their support, that company would not have sort of survived. And those conversations taught me more about leadership, about myself. Yes, made me more confident than anything else.
Wow. Yeah, these times are really, really hard.
Yes, it was tough.
Sometimes being a founder, it's like you have all the problems because you need to find customers, you have the financial pressure, you have this thing that you feel that if the company fails, like you are failing as a person, like there are no boundaries. It's really tough. Uh, cool. So I'm going to ask you a last question. What is your superpower as a founder?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's say 1 month ago, I deeply analyzed it with the chat GPT also. So um, we both kind of opinion that my superpower is that I can see really complex products in my mind long before it exists. So I can imagine the full system, how it works, how people use it, how all parts connect, every detail. And then I can turn this vision into clear steps and execute it.
Amazing. I guess with your technical background, you also have a sense of feasibility. This is buildable,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
doable or
sure.
not. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Art. I really enjoyed the conversation.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.